Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day to my beloved lecturer, Dr. Shazah Hazira, and my fellow friends. I am Zulmi binti Rosali from Eddc class City University. Will present proposed research methodology to fulfill assignment 2 for EDDC 1054 subject. For this task, today I will present my proposed study entitled The Influence of Organizational Climate and Psychological Well-being on Early Retirement Intention among Education Service Officers (ESOs), the mediating role of burnout. This study examines how workplace environment and psychological health influence early retirement intention, with burnout acting as the psychological mechanism linking these factors. I am interested in doing this topic because these early retirement issues occurs not only at the school level, where teachers face excessive daily workloads, but also at the Ministry of Education and among Education Service Officers (ESOs) involved in management who experience similar pressures from administrative and burdens and targets. Therefore, I am interested in examining findings specific to the ESO's division to understand how organizational climate and psychological well-being influence their early retirement intentions, with burnout as the mediating factor. Problem statement. According to the STAR, 20 August 2025 indicate that more than 5,000 teachers have opted for early retirement each year between 2022 and 2024, which disrupts school operations and increase replacement costs. When examining the reasons, more than 67% stated they had lost interest in the profession, while others cited family issues, health problems, workload, and personal problems. Although load, stress, and school climate are often mentioned, the role of burnout as a contributing factor remains underexplored in the Malaysian context. In 2023, the Ministry of Education introduced the Teacher Wellbeing Index (IKG) to monitor teachers' welfare. While the index score of more than 77% suggests improvements, many teachers continue to report heavy workload, emotional exhaustion, and intention to withdraw from service. This indicates that burnout may be an important mechanism influencing early retirement intentions. Doing organizational observation, issue is not limited to teachers alone. Education Service Officers (ESOs) who serve as administrators within MOE divisions are also experiencing increasing job demands. They face administrative pressure, frequent policy changes, and ongoing digital transformation requirements. Internal observations highlight several concerns, including prolonged work pressure, an unsupportive organizational climate, emotional exhaustion, and declining psychological well-being. When the organizational environment is less supportive and psychological well-being declines, employees are more likely to experience burnout, which can increase their intention to retire early. Okay, next. This study is guided by 5 research objectives. First is to identify the levels of organizational climate, psychological well-being, burnout, and early retirement intention. Second, to examine the relationship between organizational climate and early retirement intention. Third, to examine the relationship between psychological well-being and early retirement intention. Fourth, to examine the whether burnout mediates the relationship between organizational climate and early retirement intention. Fifth, to examine whether burnout mediates the relationship between psychological well-being and early retirement intention. Next, the research question. As a result, research questions stated as shown. The research questions ask about the levels of these variables, their relationship, and whether burnout acts as a mediating mechanism. Okay, next the research hypothesis. Because this is a quantitative study, seven hypotheses are proposed. H1 and H2 propose that organizational climate and psychological well-being significantly influence early retirement intention. H3 and H4 propose that organizational climate and psychological well-being significantly influence burnout. H5 proposed that burnout significantly influence early retirement intention. And finally, H6 and H7 propose that burnout mediates the relationships between both independent variables and early retirement intention. Okay, next, for the research approach, the study adopts a quantitative approach. A quantitative approach is appropriate because the study aims to examine the relationships and mediation effects among variables using statistical analysis. This approach allows objective measurement and enables findings to be generalized to a larger population. Next, the research design. The research design used is a correlational survey design. This design is suitable for examining relationships among variables and testing mediation models without manipulating any variables. It also allows efficient data collection from a large population. Population and sampling strategy. The study focused on education service officers working in divisions within the Ministry of Education Malaysia with an estimated population of about 2,000 officers. A stratified random sampling method will be used to make sure officers from different divisions and job categories are fairly represented. If there are limitations in access, proportionate random sampling will be used as an alternative. According to the Craigie and Morgan sample size table, a population of 2,000 requires approximately 322 respondents to ensure reliable and representative findings. This sample size is considered sufficient for structural equation model SEM analysis and is consistent with Craigie and Morgan sampling recommendation for large populations. Data collection instruments. Data will be using a structured questionnaire consisting of validating measurement skills. Organizational climate will be measured using an organizational climate scale by Peterson, assessing leadership support, communication, fairness, and work environment. Psychological well-being will be measured using the adapted RIF psychological well-being scale covering autonomy, purpose in life, and personal growth. Burnout will be measured using the burnout inventory emotional exhaustion subscale. Early retirement intention will be measured using an early retirement intention scale, assessing desire and plans to retire before the mandatory age. All instruments are adapted from established scales. Minor wording adjustment will be made to suit the Malaysian public sector context. A pilot test will be conducted to ensure clarity and reliability. Data collection procedures and ethics. Data will be collected using a self-administered questionnaire distributed online via Google Forms or official MOE communications channels. Participation Participation will be voluntary. Respondents will be informed about the purpose of the study, confidentiality, and anonymity. No personal identifiers will be collected. Ethical principles including informed consent, confidentiality, and data protection will be strictly observed. Data analysis plan. Data analysis will be conducted using statistical software such as SPSS. Descriptive statistics will be used to identify the levels of the variables. Pearson correlation will be examined relationship between variables. Structural equation modeling and bootstrapping technique will be used to test mediation effects. This analysis align directly with the research question and hypothesis. Quality criteria, validity and reliability. To ensure research quality, content validity will be reviewed by experts from university and field. A pilot study will be conducted. Reliability will be assessed using Cronbach's alpha. Construct validity will be examined through factor analysis. In conclusion, this study aims to provide empirical evidence on how organizational climate and psychological well-being influence early retirement intention and how burnout functions as a key mediating mechanism. The findings are expected to support policy improvement and promote a healthier and more sustainable public education workforce. That's all for me. Thank you.